What is up, Bucs fans? We are here after a big W for the Bucs in Detroit, beating the Detroit Lions 20-16. Huge win for Tampa Bay as they head back home, and they're 2-0 to start the season. And this is our instant reaction podcast here. We have the man there in Detroit, Colin Halbum, here for us for Bucs Game Day. So, Colin, you were there. We'll start off pretty quickly. What's your reaction from this game? What did you see? What did you notice? And just tell us about the win.
Yeah, man, I saw a team that showed a lot of resilience just based on the injuries at key spots that we have covered a ton this past week. That's been the main talking point. And I mean, somehow, some way, the Buccaneers managed to overcome that. I think the story is Todd Bowles' defense and how well that secondary stepped up. The Detroit didn't find the end zone until the late in the third quarter, so they had
Right.
managed to hold an uber aggressive decision maker in Dan Campbell to settle for field goals, which I found surprising to begin with.
Mhm.
Um, and they just gave their offense a chance by finding a way to stop a really potent offense here in Detroit. So a ton of guys stepped up. McCollum, Dean, Izzy, and Whitehead was a man possessed today.
A
So
lot of great
this,
defensive players there for sure.
yeah, and playing without the best safety in the game, those guys all rallied around each other, I guess, and a bunch of young guys made plays. And I think the defense deserves the story. The offense won the headlines last week, and sure they made some big plays today when they needed to. But for me, it's guys on the defensive end stepping up and getting the job done. For a head coach and defensive coordinator, they have great respect for in Todd Bowles.
Absolutely, Todd Bowles did call a pretty solid game on defense to get that done. And guys, if you like what we're doing here, you like this post game stuff, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. Look down below, hit the like button, give us some comments. We'll try and answer them, and subscribe so you don't miss anything else. There you go, you got it. Let's talk about the offense. Obviously, Baker Mayfield accounted for 2 touchdowns, 1 throwing to Chris Godwin and 1 rushing on a crazy play call for a designed QB run, I think, late in the game there. What did you see from the Bucs offense there? And we'll talk about the run game in a minute. But how about Baker Mayfield's performance and how you thought Liam Cohen did today?
Yeah, I think Liam Cohen did a good job. The Bucks were in positions, like he found a way to battle himself as well, much like the defense. But I mean, dude, I got to skip right to what you're talking about with that quarterback draw coming off. I think it was back-to-back 11-yard runs for Baker Mayfield. The first one I tweeted out, he looked like Steve Young, like he laid an absolute juke on the defender. I don't remember who it was, but we'll be seeing that one all week. And then, so after Baker has this awesome scramble, they go and they call a quarterback draw that he takes into the end zone. Like it was amazing.
Pretty
And I
crazy.
asked Baker, who called that? Was that Liam or was that you? And he said that was Liam. So really smart call there. And just in general, I thought it was like a sign of Baker Mayfield's maturity is just his willingness to take what the defense gives him. And I think he did that today. And I think that like Chris Godwin had 117 yards in the first half and a touchdown. Barely any other receivers did anything. And then Godwin didn't do much in the second half. So, I mean, Baker is making his reads, man, is what he's doing. He's
Mhm.
hanging in the pocket. His pocket poise is vastly improved from what we saw at Cleveland and those brief
For
stops
sure.
since then.
One of the
You
biggest
know,
improvements in his game, I think. Yeah.
yeah, and he's managing to buy time in very chaotic pockets while still looking downfield. And I mean, the one time it bit him on that throw, he made that that threw that pick, but. Other than that, he's hitting at a pretty high clip when he buys himself a little extra time, and the Bucs receivers are starting to figure out ways to get open. And obviously, Chris Godwin has already got quite a bit of chemistry with Baker when it comes to third downs, which definitely carried over today from last week in Washington.
Third and Godwin still going
There,
strong here in week 2. So the run game, let's talk about that because it looks to be, that was an emphasis that the Bucs wanted to go forward with going into this season. And to be honest with you, it still doesn't look great. You had Rashad White averaging 1.8 yards per carry, 10 attempts, 18 yards. You had Bucky Irving, 3.1, 7 attempts, 22 yards. Not a lot going for the run game there. Now, granted, you did have Luke Gedeke out on the right side, but as far as the interior line goes, still doesn't look like they're quite getting the push that they need to get in the run game.
Yeah, I mean, there's no other way around it. That was obvious today. And again, credit to the Bucs offense because they found a way to adjust and they weren't like too stubborn where they were going to keep running into a brick wall because that is what it looked like. But they found a way to adapt. That being said, it won't be sustainable. But I do believe, and I know you said, it's one absence, the right tackle spot, but I do think that had a very significant impact. Like this was one of those games where it felt like they were just fighting and clawing to find a way, and that's what they did. So I feel like I don't want to criticize the run game because the fact that they beat what I believe is one of the best teams in the NFL, not just the NFC, the Detroit Lions, on the road, undermanned, is enough for me to give them a pass. And I think, starting next week versus the Broncos, we'll see hopefully a healthy starting lineup of offensive linemen, and then we can really start judging the run game. And hopefully Rashad White, hopefully he's okay. Like they mentioned, a groin injury,
Point
but then he was
issue.
back in.
Yeah.
Then he's back in there, and he looked okay. So it's kind of hard to tell, but
Right.
I'm going to withhold judgment for one more week. I think this team earned that much from us before we judge the run game too specifically.
For sure. And, Detroit definitely passed the ball quite a bit, 55 times from Jared Goff, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. But had Christian Izien in there filling in for Anton Winfield Jr. He had a really solid game, had a pick there. Savasi Dennis seemed to be everywhere on the field for the second week in a row. So, my question to you is, what are you thinking about some of these guys filling in, especially guys like Izien and then CJ Brewer, Mike Green coming into the practice squad, and the job that they did? Like, how can you attest to that given the injuries and how shorthanded the team was?
Next man up. I mean, that is the story of this game. That's why I refuse to be critical of the run game because I'm just genuinely impressed by how this team rallied together, and I think that comes from leadership. That comes from the team, Jason Light and his staff, drafting players who are buy-in type of guys, and it really seems like everyone's bought in here. And then of course, they've found guys, undrafted free agents. You just mentioned them, Christian Izien, like Funderburk. They got all these guys on the team who have come from places that other teams missed on them, and they found a way to make them contributors. And today is a perfect example of that. You got guys stepping up in big roles due to injury and making a major impact in a game that proved to be a really important victory for this Bucs team.
Absolutely. And again, if you like what we're doing here at Bucs Game Day, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe here on YouTube. If you're watching from Twitter or you're watching from Facebook, make sure you come on over here to YouTube. Give us some comments. We'll do our best to answer some of them on the day. But really a big win for Tampa Bay. They're 2-0 on the season here, and we'll talk about a little bit about the next game. They're coming back to Tampa Bay to play the Denver Broncos next week in week 3. So given what you've seen here, 2-0 to start the season, a little rough on the injury front and not a perfect sort of game, but how confident are you feeling going into this next game, given that the Bucs got a win that they weren't supposed to get here in Detroit and were so dominant in their week 1 win?
Yeah, it kind of feels like house money, doesn't it? Stealing this one in Detroit. Yeah, man, I expect the Buccaneers to roll next week. Regardless of who's in there. I'm hoping they get a little bit healthier. I'm hoping Gadecki's good to go, and I think that is going to be a huge difference. Hopefully, Vita Vea, man. JC Allen had tweeted out his video that he saw of it. Didn't look great. Looked like a potential knee injury. So we'll withhold comment until we get something concrete. But
Right.
that could be a big hit. But who knows? Maybe they get Canty back. So not to just belittle Vea's potential absence, which could even be extended, but they'll be getting some guys back. Hopefully Gadecki, hopefully Canty. That's 2 out of 3 of their real stud guys who are missing today. So that's still an improvement. And I'm sorry, the Denver Broncos in 2024 are not the Detroit Lions. So I'm
Right.
I'm feeling
I would
pretty
agree.
good going back to Ray J, playing what I believe is an inferior opponent. That said, I have no idea what else went on in the world of football today. I haven't had a minute to check, so I don't know. Maybe the Broncos crushed it or something. Bo Nix threw for 600 yards. I don't know.
Well, the Broncos are currently playing the Steelers, and they're down 7-0 right now. So Tampa Bay fans might want to keep an eye on that game to scout the next week's opponent, a little bit as they come to Tampa Bay. So, yeah, we got a comment here from Sadnot saying, go for the bowl, Buccaneers. Baker certainly played a great game today. Like we said, counted for 2 touchdowns. And, Hard to say exactly where his team stands. It's week 2. They call it the overreaction week. But I think regardless, this was quite a win from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And they're still 2-0, haven't dropped a game yet in the fight for the NFC South. And it is looking like, folks, the New Orleans Saints are going to be a problem in this division, having put up about 89 points in the last 2 weeks. So we'll see how that goes. But Tampa Bay looking good. They're 2-0 and getting ready to come back to Tampa Bay. So, Colin, you were there on the ground. Thanks, of course, for giving us all the update we can have there. And you have anything else you want to say before we head out of here?
Just that I think Bucs fans have a lot to be proud of. Like, not to be like the rah dude, but I mean, this was a really gritty win, ironically, against Dan Campbell's team, where their whole mantra is all grit. It was a gritty win, lots to be proud of this team, and they just continue to develop momentum. I think that's very much palpable. Like, I just got out of the locker room before hopping on here with you, and just this team, they like each other. The culture, it's a real thing here, and I think it's something, who knows, who has the potential to be special. But Baker Mayfield's ascension as a legitimate leader and excellent above average quarterback is upon us. And talking heads or credible analysts, whoever they are, they're going to continue to jump on the Baker Mayfield bandwagon. I guarantee it. So Bucs fans, hopefully you're already there, because I'm feeling very optimistic after seeing the environment that team came into today and knocked off such an excellent football team in the Detroit Lions. So just positive vibes. That's what I'm throwing down.
Actually, Colin, great analysis, by the way. Of course, positive vibes going into it. Actually, before we go, we have JC Allen here at BucsGameday that we're going to introduce here, and he'll say a little bit about what he saw. JC, how's it going?
What's up, guys? How we doing?
Doing good. Big win for Tampa Bay, 2-0. We talked to Colin a little bit here in the field, our man on the ground. So, JC, what did you see from this game?
Yeah, first of all, huge Bucs win, right? I mean, I think we all picked Detroit, so we're all eating some crow right now. But I think just listen to Colin. Yeah, grit is the word that I would describe this win. The Bucs are down. Their right tackle, they're down. Their all-pro safety, they're down. They're ascending young first-round draft pick Kalijah Cansey. They lose Vita Vea, and they still find a way to edge a win out. I mean, I think when you look at the totality of this game, sure, were there things they could have done better? Absolutely. Sure, were there things that could have gone their way a little bit more, penalty-wise here and there? There was a couple ticky-tacky calls. Yeah, but the Bucs stuck to it. They got it done. The defense played incredible. Guys stepped up over the last couple of years. Draft Simon McCollum. I've been telling everybody about Simon McCollum. I've been telling everybody about him. He's going to have a great season. He comes out first play of the game, gets an interception. Nearly has another one. Amon-Ra St. Brown. If it was any other wide receiver, not Amon-Ra St. Brown, he probably has 2. And then the amazing pass deflection on Jameson Williams when the Lions were trying to go win the game. Just amazing stuff by him. Servassier Dennis playing lights out in that nickel linebacker role, making a case. And River, you said this, he might be moving into a starter position sooner rather than later if he continues this level of play. Jordan Whitehead all over the field, 11 tackles, 2 tackles for loss. The grittiness of CJ Brewer and Mike Green, 2 guys who are elevated off the practice squad, come in. Brewer's pressure on Goff and the hit he delivered on Goff was a big reason why Christian Azian came down with that interception. I just think that the defense, when you look at this as a head coach for the Buccaneers, not a D coordinator, as a head coach of the Buccaneers, I think this was probably Todd Bowles' best defensive game plan he's ever put together.
Wow. Don't forget that Super Bowl victory.
As a head
coach.
As a head coach.
Oh, sorry. Oh, okay. Yeah. There you go.
To take away guys like Jameson Williams, and he got his a little bit there. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta, Gibbs, Montgomery, to make them bend but don't break. Don't let them destroy you. It was a masterful defensive play calling by Todd Bowles. And then Liam Cohen, there were some questionable things here and there. But for the most part, that play call to CG on his 41-yard touchdown.
It was like they knew the defense, man. It's like Baker was so calm. It looked like they knew what they were going to be in, and it was just easy.
And then to find out that Baker's touchdown run was a design touchdown run that Liam called. And then, you're kind of looking like, why are they running the right side? Then you kind of look over and see, oh, they're in base defense and they got Derek Barnes right there. So you can't run directly into Derek Barnes. He's going to make you pay. So you got to run to the lighter side there. And, few things here, few things there. A wide receiver blocked by Jalen McMillan and CG's taking another one to the house. A crease here and Rashad White's not getting 3 yards at the end of the game. He's getting a huge lane. So there's things to work upon. There's things to build upon. But if you would have told me Bucs would be 2-0 and beat the Lions at home, banged up with those injuries before the season started, I would have called you crazy. I did call you crazy because I picked them to lose. But I just think I think it was a great performance by kind of everyone involved as a team. Sure, there were guys who didn't perform great, and go check out our 3 up, 3 down, and I put that out there. But yeah, I was thoroughly impressed at the end of the game. The Bucs aren't my team. I'm a writer. I'm trying to be as non-biased as I can, but I found myself at the edge of the seat. My hands kind of shaking while I'm typing what's going to happen next. And heck of a game. It was entertaining from start to finish.
It was, and as I put up a comment earlier, BG on YouTube says they're not lions anymore, they're kittens, and perhaps this is true today because the Bucs did get the win. And then we have another comment here on YouTube from Swamp Puppy saying, we beat a good team, it's up from here. I only see one challenge in the next 4 weeks, and that's the Saints. I don't know if I explicitly, there's some good teams there in the next 4 weeks, but I will correct my stat from earlier. The Saints have scored 86 points in the last 2 games they've played, so that will be quite a challenge. Well, thanks guys for stopping in here at Bucs Game Day. This is our podcast. We'll give you some live reactions after every game here. And again, I mentioned it before, but like, comment, subscribe, make sure you're reading. We got Colin writing articles. We got JC putting in good work, and I put up some articles as well. So the whole team here at Bucs Game Day is working hard to give you guys Bucs content, and we're giving it to you in droves every day. So make sure you go to our website, Buccaneers on SI, Bucs Game Day. Check that out, and then follow us here on YouTube. So big win for Tampa Bay, 2-0, coming back home, playing the Broncos next week. So we'll catch you guys later.
I will say, before I can leave you guys with just one little tidbit I am hearing.
Go for it.
It's not the worst for Vita Vea. We'll be here at Bucs Game Day. We'll break some news a little bit later on tonight. I will have a story up about what potentially that injury could be, but it's not worst case scenario for Vita Vea. Leave you guys a little bit of encouragement on a Bucs victory.
There you go. So that's good news for the Bucs because they're going to need everybody they can get going forward to make a run for this division. But for right now, it's going well. They're 2-0, and we'll catch you next time. So thanks for tuning in, guys. See you later.